Okay guys, welcome back. Absolutely delighted to be joined today by good friend and PGA Tour coach, Ralph Bauer. Nice to see you, buddy.
Thanks for having me up.
Thank you for joining us. We are here in Foresight Sports headquarters here in Ontario. We're going to dive into some topics related to off-season practice today. You guys and all of us really in the kind of colder climates in the winter are moving into this overly extended off-season, this cold weather. But the golf clubs generally don't go away for everyone. There's lots of people who still like to keep the clubs out, still like to kind of use this time to get better. I know I'm one of those people. And this is the best time. I actually love this time of year when the golf season ends and I look at how to analyse the season and what can I do for next year. This is one of my favourite times of the year. As much as the golf season being done devastates me. What do you sort of like your players to do come the off season? Obviously rest is important. Taking a little bit of downtime is not bad either. But when they ramp it back up, what do you like?
Yeah, certainly rest is important, but it gets dark at 5 o'clock and we need something to do, right?
Absolutely.
So I like people to have some fun in the off season, but also have a structured plan on things that we can do to actually get better.
Right.
You know, during the competitive season or, you know, when we're golfing for fun, you know, in the summertime, we don't have a lot of time to step back, right? And think, hey, like, what are 2 things that if I had a magic wand, I could improve on that would really make next year much, much better, right? And we don't need, you know, it's kind of crazy. It doesn't matter who I work with. You know, the most that people have is maybe 2 or 3 things to work on.
Right.
You know, if you pick the right domino to tip over, right, first, the rest will fall into line.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm lucky. I watched you play some golf this this summer
Yeah,
out of Hamilton. That was a great time. And you know, I follow you on Instagram, so I get to see those swings all the time. But I've got a couple drills that are specific to you.
Yep.
But I also like picking drills too that will just help anybody. Right. And I don't want to, you know, I'm not a big. I love drills because it helps us think still like a golfer and not get too mechanical. So we can transition into it more. So we're gonna do a couple drills. We're gonna have a bit of a transitional drill, then we'll do some random practice. So we'll go block, transition, random. It'll be productive and fun.
And it's such a great point, and something for you guys to kind of take from this is anytime you get an hour to practice, however the amount of time is. I know at our golf club, I've just signed up for our winter membership, and you get an hour every day. How do you dedicate the time in the bay so that you're not just going in there and getting an hour worth of hitting balls? That's golf exercise. That's not training. That's not, you know, improvement in mind. Let's get into the drills a little bit. There's some other things I want to talk about from a player perspective, the way we kind of have to challenge ourselves in this mode.
Yeah, okay, so this is my first drill.
Okay.
We're gonna give you, this is one of my favorites. So I got you a sand wedge. We're just gonna use a plain old lineman stick here. It's right underneath my feet. And what that's gonna do, that's gonna give me some awareness of where my balance is. So what I wanna do is I'm just gonna hit some short shots. I'm gonna have my left arm parallel to the ground. And I see a lot of people who will go towards their toes. Present company, you know, included. So, you know, I was watching your Instagram the other day and you were talking about your hand path, right? And what you were doing is your weight was going forward and the hand, you know, the hands in the club getting behind you.
The hands are sucked in a little bit and you've got to offset that a little bit. You know, like you say, if I pull my arms in, the likelihood is I'm gonna rock into my heels. So I'm gonna counter that with a little bit of forward motion, which kind of gets the left arm pinned, gets the right arm moving behind, and my structure starts to fall apart. Yeah,
and then the wrong dominoes are falling in place. I find it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing. I find that if we get our pivot correct, we're well balanced, you know, our hand path and club path is much, much easier. Nobody ever calls me up and says, Ralph, I'm really well balanced, my backswing is killing me.
And important to note, guys, this is all of you, and you work with a coach and you know, you've got specific stuff. This is just great general maintenance. There's nobody that won't benefit from doing the drills that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, some people benefit more than others.
Yeah,
but everyone would benefit to a degree.
Right. Okay. So, and this is low tech. This is inexpensive.
Inexpensive.
It can be, you know, you know, the orange Home Depot, you know, rods that you see lining the road, the snow kind of.
But just anything that's going to allow us to get some awareness of where our balance is in our feet.
And you're not against somebody doing this shoes off either. You know, to get a little bit more tactile awareness of maybe where the feet is moving. And we're going to do some stuff together because I know you're a swing catalyst user and you've got one at home.
Love it.
We're going to get into that, you know, in another video. But again, being able to have some awareness of where the weight's traveling, where you're sort of, you know, shifting your pressure around the feet, that's important.
I love having shoes off. You know, I've had one of my players at Riviera, you know,
Unlace them.
Yeah, you know, and you can't care about what people think. We're trying to get better. It's I've had a few tour players do it. It's just a great way to, you know, hate to say it, but to get grounded, right? And start from the ground up, and it's an awesome drill. So here's what I want to see you do. First of all, we're just going to take a second to feel like we're we can feel our weight distribution from front to back.
Got it.
You can move the ball position around. Excellent. This is just going to be, what club did I hand you here? A 54?
54.
So this is going to be like an 80, 90 yard shot.
Okay. So a full one. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Just like that. Maybe not even that high back.
Okay.
Really good.
Just trying to kind of keep good balance.
Yeah.
Trying to be very aware of sort of staying in control of the rotation within the confines of this balance rod that we're using.
Right.
Okay. And how many, you know, if this is a starting portion to anyone's practice, this is a great way because we've got a short club, it's a small motions, very controlled, great way for anyone to start their practice. How many are they hitting? How many do you
Probably
like?
about 20 of these.
So get
at
a
least
good
10,
amount. Yeah.
You know, maybe 20,
okay.
right? And, you know, we want to start off every session with the right foot, with good posture, with, you know, good balance and a proper takeaway.
I love that. Okay. So we're going to rock through some of these, get a good feel for it.
You just look so balanced there and grounded. Really good. Now, it's kind of hard to tell. It's only been a couple shots, but already that backswing is looking like your hands are getting sucked in less.
Yeah,
which is funny because if rather than focusing constantly on manipulating our hands and arms, if we could just stay balanced in that backswing, even if our hands and arms are a little bit off, at least we'll be well balanced and better able to compensate for it.
I couldn't agree more. And balance is something that's not, it has to travel with you, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Putting, you know, something in your field that you do a lot with best players in the world in the putting arena. Getting into drivers, how balanced you need to be. I mean, you've got to be able to stabilize yourself if you're going to hit it long and have speed as much as you need it for a wedge shot. So this is transferable throughout the whole bag.
One of my favorite drills, get people pitching great. You know, show me a great pitcher. It's like soccer. Show me a great dribbler, I'll show you a great soccer player.
Right.
Show me a great pitcher, I'll show you a great golfer.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I just had to throw some soccer, you know, a quick soccer reference in there.
As long as we call it football, we'll be fine.
I apologize. Yeah, just really good. And just see how that finish too. Now you're maintaining your spine angle, you know, through your finish.
Feels very balanced, very connected. Feels like everything's really moving. And I can almost imagine doing this at the start of the round. I'm already feeling more confident. I feel like I've got it today. You know, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like everything's working together. You know, how many times do you see in the range somebody goes on there and they're in a bit of a hurry and they slam the bag down, a head cover comes off, and away they go. They're like an octopus falling out of a tree.
Chiropractor's dream because you're going to get hurt. But you know, the other thing I like about this, it's just a drill. So we're trying to ingrain that movement pattern, right? And then if the first few shots on the range aren't great, well, we're just trying to ingrain a movement pattern anyways. So we're placing less emphasis on contact, even though those have been great, right? And more emphasis on, hey, getting the correct setup and the correct pattern, you know, rolling into the day.
One of the things I love about what we're doing here is, you know, we've talked about some stuff here for, you know, a few minutes, and we're on the best technology that you can practice on, but we've not talked about numbers. We've not talked anything about, like, we've got great feedback, but we're not talking about it in a technical way yet, you know, but there's the ability to get in there if you really want to, or as a coach, you know, you might look at it and go, okay, I'm curious when he's hitting these shots, this looks really good. What is his path? What's his angle of attack? You've got those options. And I think having you guys practicing indoor in the winter time, you know, you don't have to always have a full array of tiles available to you where you're looking at every single one, because you don't have that in the golf course. So, keeping it real in terms of the challenges you have in the course, I think is important when you're working with technology, that you don't always have it turned on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know if you heard what Rory was talking about. He's going through the swing changes, which look amazing.
Yeah.
And he turned the screen off for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And just
didn't want to.
And he was using his body as a feedback.
That's right. Yeah.
Right, as opposed to the numbers.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to something Bryson DeChambeau said, which I love. He said he played a lot of golf, practiced a lot of golf growing up with his eyes closed.
Yeah.
Right?
Which, heightening that sort of awareness.
I've read studies that, if you want to ingrain a new motor program, you can do it quicker with your eyes closed.
Right.
Because it's more kinesthetic and you're feeling it, right?
Yeah, because if you're shutting down some of your senses, then your other senses, waking up.
I'm going to use that one. Is that okay?
That. Yeah, of course. All yours. All yours.
No, so that's good. So let's do one more of those.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to the next. Again, sometimes in the spring, this gets, when the ground's a little soft.
Yep.
We need something a little bit thicker than that alignment stick. Typically, I'll just get 2 and tape them together.
It's great, though. It really is. I'm very aware of it. It's tactile enough through the sole of the shoes. Obviously, some golf shoes are firmer than others, and maybe you get less awareness. But I think for this, it's great. And talking about that, I think, guys, quick side note, one thing when you're indoors, don't practice in shoes you wouldn't play golf in. Please never do that. Don't come in your Asics or Ons or whatever brand of choice that you might wear. Don't come in and off the street, out the car, out the house, and come in and try and practice in that, because the stability levels you're going to have are not conducive to what you would have on the golf course, and you're going to feel like you're rocking about. It's built for very different environments, isn't it?
100%. And I see a lot of people coming with runners.
Yeah.
Right? Runners are designed for running.
Yeah.
Right? So they've got
that pitch.
It's like 100%, right?
Absolutely.
So it's like you got downhill lie every shot,
definitely.
And that's 100% changing how your body is gonna react. You'd never play golf. Yeah. Now that being said, if you're in golf in those, by all means,
if it's what you're going to golf in,
by
absolutely.
all means.
And actually, it's one of those things now. You can actually know how much pitch is in the shoe that you've got. True links where they kind of have some that have totally flat sole. They have some that have a little bit heel elevation. Again, back to swing catalyst. You can really, there's lots of studies out there now as to kind of who would benefit from what type of shoe.
Yeah, I mean, we're picking a shoe. It shouldn't be about color. It should be about
absolutely functionality, isn't it?
For sure.
Okay, one more. Let's do it.
Amazing. Okay, so we're gonna knock off 20 of those.
Okay.
It's a good way to get started.
Feels good.
Switch clubs here.
Thank
we're
you.
gonna go with a 6-iron. 6-iron's right in the middle of your bag.
Yep.
I always like that as a starting position for what club we're gonna use for drills.
Agreed.
So we're gonna use a drill here. I call this Hadwin drill because he's so good at it. But what we're gonna do, actually, let's just switch here for a sec.
Do you want dots in that? Do you need?
We're good for now.
Okay.
We're good for now. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do a normal setup. We're gonna take the club back until our left arm is parallel to the ground. And when we do that, that shaft should be pointed at our target line. Right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna come back here, we can stop and check it, and then we can go ahead, finish our swing, and hit our shot.
Right.
I feel that by actually hitting our shot, it's gonna transfer more into our full shot than just simply checking it. I see a lot of people who will check their positions, for hours on end in the basement. I don't see that translating, into our golf swings at all.
Right.
But if we are stopping it and we're actually hitting our shot, then the rest of our swing is getting used to the club being in a good position going back.
Agreed.
And it's expecting that, right? So just a nice little drill. And then once we get a little bit better at it, we don't need to stop and check it. So once we get a little bit better at it, we can come back here. And this is even more important. I'm just gonna feel that's good, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit my shot.
Love it. Okay.
So let's start off by checking it. And you don't need to drop the club like I did. We're just gonna stop and check.
And I'm still trying to be very aware of what I felt around with the
right. So that balance is gonna travel with us. Right. So your setup here looks great. We're gonna take that club back to that left arm, it's parallel to the ground. Yeah, amazing. Go ahead. And now we're gonna go ahead and finish your backswing and hit your shot. Brilliant. Now, how'd that feel?
Great. Good tempo, good balance, nice checkpoint.
As we're going back, we want to make sure that some of these things we're looking at back here aren't caused, by our weight,
some compensations for what
So a lot of times what we see back here is more of a compensation, and obviously would be better off, nipping it in the bud and having a better pivot. Yeah. Again, nobody ever calls me up and says, Ralph, my pivot's perfect, it's killing me. Yeah. Right? Whereas, and it's funny, the better our setup, the better our pivot, a lot of those other things take care of themselves.
Totally. There's, in anything you can have that, that sort of multiple gains from one key element. 100%. Do those types of things. If you can get multiple
it's
wins.
Okay to sit back and think, okay, what's that first thing I need to, just keep going back. Right. Lucas Glover told me, he said, Ralph, 5 times in his career, it hasn't come down to the setup. Right. So.
I know. I think golfers think, I do think that at times people believe that, the best players in the world are hiding their secrets, because when they talk about what you're working on, a ball position. Yeah. I'm working on my setup. They're not working on this mythical kind of wrist motion, and they think it has to be something they haven't heard yet. It's not about that. I mean, you're out there all the time. You know what these guys are working on with their setup, with they're so. I think people would be shocked how boring and how sort of repetitive practice is for the best players in the world.
Yeah, they find out what works for them, and they just don't deviate from that.
That's right.
Okay, love this setup. There's a lot of checks you can do here too. I'll just keep talking while you're hitting. But you got a nice tilt with your spine angle here. Obviously, your grip looks good. With your stance looks good. That's really good there. Now we're just gonna love that little check. Now we're just gonna rotate our shoulders, rotate our torso, and then go ahead and hit it. Awesome. And we can work that up to game speed too. Yeah. So that'd be a good thing for you to check. Talk about technology. If your 6-iron goes, I don't know, what does it go? 190?
Yeah, 185, 190, something like that in the golf course.
So if it goes 185, it should with this as well. Yeah. Right? Or maybe a couple yards short, but not much.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
We want to be practicing things at game speed.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I'm guilty, to be honest, Ralph, of doing it in a way that I can control it. But really, how well does that ever translate to the golf course when you're doing it way quicker? Yeah. You're doing those types of things. So that's a great nugget.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. Yep. Let's work this one up to, that last one was 162. Okay. Let's get this at least into 180 mode.
180-ish.
Yeah. Again, your setup looks perfect here. Really good. Excellent. Back to the ball. Love how you're doing this. There we go.
Let it out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
Again, this is a drill. What we're trying to accomplish there, at least, 183, I think. But what we're trying to accomplish here, that first drill was for the first part of our backswing, better balance. Yep. Right? Now this is kind of mirroring up, great swing plane with that. Right? Totally. That was awesome. Yeah, 182. I mean, went a little left, so I gave you a couple more yards, but yeah, this is excellent. Really good. Excellent. Nice little check. Now go ahead and feel like big turn and ripping through it. Really good. And that looked like game speed. Yeah. Maybe a little thin, but so maybe the ball speed wasn't there, but that looked like game speed. Open. Now let's do one more where we're doing it and we're not going to look back. We're just going to feel it.
Keep it in the ball.
Yeah. I think it's important to know that you're doing a good job of taking your time. Yep. On your setup. You got a nice and meticulous way of putting your grip on, getting settled in there. Excellent. Now we're just going to take that club back to that left arm's parallel to the ground. Excellent. Now you're going to feel that looks amazing. And then go ahead. There we go. Getting better at this, highly correlated to better golf on the golf course, right? And by the way, do you feel like you're thinking a lot while you're doing this?
No.
No.
No, I really way less, to be honest.
You're working on your mechanics, but you're not really thinking about them.
Totally.
Right?
So I don't feel like I'm thinking much.
I've been lucky enough to coach on tour since 2009. Boy, if I'd show up on a range And I've had a pretty good career out there. If I showed up at the range at the next event and started talking about guys at the top, changing their wrist angles, that'd be the last week. That'd be the end of my my run on tour, right?
Very true, isn't it?
We need simple things that help us perform better on the golf course. That's a wicked start to the first hour. That's gonna consume about 30 minutes, 25 minutes
the first
of doing
half,
that.
Nice warm up, bit of maintenance, some drills, some structure.
Yeah.
Yeah, bit of block practice.
Yeah, so that block practice is going to be first 25%, or shouldn't say it, 25 minutes, right? And then we're ready to start talking about controlling the golf ball more, and we can switch into that. Okay, so rather than just setting up on the practice range, why don't we have a little bit of fun?
Let's do it.
We got Pebble Beach here, 7th hole. We've all seen this before. So we got like a back center pin. Scott Foster would have a field day with this, but he's not here right now. So we're gonna still be pretty cautious with this.
Yep.
Try to good shot would be maybe 10 feet right. Is that fair to say?
Yep.
Right?
And if you're straight anywhere,
maybe 10 feet short.
I was gonna say you don't want to be long.
You don't
want to play the number. That's for sure.
Okay, so this is gonna be all about controlling our golf ball.
Yep.
Right. So go through your routine here. Get set up. We got a beautiful visual here, right?
And I've picked a club, Ralph, that for me, I know I can control the spin.
Yeah.
So 28 feet down, we're increasing the angle of descent. It's going to be more vertical.
Yep.
The more vertical our ball lands, the more it will rip back.
Right.
I'm going to play that into that, and I'm going to take one club less, so I can have a slightly shallower angle of descent.
Brilliant. So controlling our spin, controlling the golf ball, that's all about separating ourselves with wedges.
Definitely.
This is great. This is also something that people don't really practice enough of.
No.
I don't see people practicing taking, a little bit of yardage off of a wedge.
Definitely.
So we've got some, go ahead and hit this one.
Okay.
We've got some numbers there on the bottom. These are just ones I think are important. We're going to talk about our launch angle, our backspin, right? Very, pretty important to know what type of spin numbers we have, obviously. Our carry numbers are important. Yeah. I had a junior come to me. We did a playing lesson with a very good junior, and they didn't know what their they didn't know what their carry numbers were. They just knew how much it rolled out to. I said, well, that's not going to help you if you got to fly out over a bunker.
And another thing, guys, if you're going to spend time indoors in the winter, you have access to the best technology in the game. Get to know your clubs. Get to know what's in your bag. Get to know what it does in terms of yardages, shot shaping, apex numbers, land angles, all these things. Get to know your tools in your toolbox intimately in order to know when you need to select the right one in the golf course. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, 112
And then I also
yards.
like looking at angle of attack and club path.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep our club numbers pretty simple, but boy, it's nice to know what our
nice
angle of
to know.
attack does and our club path. Keep our eye on those.
I'm thinking as a number in my mind, I'm trying to hit this adjusted. So I'm going to try and hit a flat 105.
Okay.
Right. So thinking that the 28 feet is probably going to give us 3 or 4 more. And then I'm not flirting with the back edge of the green. So I'm thinking in my mind, I'm going to hit a 105 shot.
Great. Really good. So started out a little bit right.
Okay.
Maybe drawn back a little bit. Oh my gosh, what do you say, 10 feet to the right?
We said that, just short and just to the right. So again, it's the benefit of having done so much training in here. I'm calibrated in terms of the numbers. So I tried to hit that 105, I hit it 104.
Okay.
Right, so we've had a game plan, we carried it out. That's what it's all about. And one of the pillars that we obviously preach about so much is strategy. It's great being able to execute it, but if you don't have a strategy, what is it you're actually trying to execute? You're just trying to see and do. I think they're having a game plan. We had a really solid game plan there. If we fail in the execution, we can feel okay about that. We're not perfect, we're not robots, but we had a really good game plan as to what we were trying to do there.
Yeah, 100%. I see a lot of people with good game plans, right? But they're not practicing those putting those into practice. They're waiting until the first tee to hit a shot, not at the right at the pin. So we shouldn't be on the range firing every shot at the pin. I've got this drill I get all my players to do on tour. It's called Around the World.
Yeah.
We pick a pin, we laser it, we hit one to the right of it, we hit one to the left of it, we hit one long of it and one short of it. And the one long of it would be a higher shot, right? Because it'd be simulating a front pin.
Yep.
The one that's short of it would be lower one because it'd be simulating a back pin, right? So now we're talking about taking those skills, right? Because we develop skills and then we need to be able to access those skills on the golf course.
When it counts.
And this is the way of doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
That's brilliant.
Okay.
So let's do a few more of those, right? Just because you did it once, we do need to back it up. And
one in a row is
one in a row is good,
for.
but two in a row is even better. Pretty similar. Boy, might be a little bit left of the pin there, but no, boy, really good there. So while we're doing that, on your previous shot, I just had a quick, glance at we do want to keep a track of our path numbers.
Yeah, and if you're with a coach and stuff like that, I mean, that's that again with this environment. We call it, the environment that you learn in is so crucial. So as a coach, and you're looking at those two variables there, path, angle of attack. Okay, I saw you got a little bit this way in that one, so you got a little bit in that, or maybe it's consistent.
Right.
It's good to know, isn't it?
And for a wedge club path, that was spot on.
Yep.
A little bit from the inside with a wedge, going to create a nice little flighted draw. Yep. We got 9,000 RPMs, which is great. It's those ones ripping back are going to be like the 11,000 ones.
Absolutely, which is really again talking about this club selection.
Yeah.
We don't need that. Like now, pins at the front, I'm probably going to pull the other one, hit it into the middle of the green, and know that if I pull the string, I can bring it back towards the pin. But with that kind of 2/3 back pin position, I don't want that ball doing anything other than just landing like a sandbag.
100%.
That's what I want it to do.
Yeah, and then if we see any issues here with our launch angle, being too high, our club path being too much in, or not enough in, right? Then we can adjust our ball position. People tell me, hey, what ball position should I have for a wedge? I'm like, well, you want the ball position that's going to create the proper path, and angle of attack numbers, right? And that's going to vary for everybody. But this is a brilliant way, I feel, to really dial in our ball position.
Absolutely. You're not going to get me to hit another one at that pin because it's not going to get any better than those
Okay,
two.
so this is kind of fun. You hit a couple of beautiful shots. We could go to a right pin now, right? Or change it up, or add some wind.
Yeah, add another variable into the mix. And maybe at this point, you're starting to go longer club, change the task difficulty a little bit.
I like staying on 7 Pebble Beach because it's an awesome hole. But we could definitely change the wind. And if we've got a player who gets a little stuck inside, boy, a nice way to counteract that without thinking too much is just put a left to right wind in there, and then get them aiming a little bit left, feel like they're going to naturally want to get their path a little bit more out in front of them, right, and hit a fade. And boy, now we're improving your swing, and your ability to control the golf ball without getting into your mechanics.
Love it.
So why don't we hit a few of those into a left to right wind? Okay. That'd be awesome.
Let's do that. All right, so we've upped the difficulty level. We've added some wind. We've actually changed the pin position. We had it at the back, which the ball feeding towards it, kind of a bit easier. Now it's that front position. So really the ball landing, unless you've got that spin we talked about, the ball's going to be working away from the flag if it's rolling onwards. So how do you like people to sort of envision a practice environment for this? Yeah,
so we got a pretty challenging conditions here. We got 15 miles an hour wind from left to right, to a pretty tucked pin, right? So this is gonna be tough. Now, as most good players, if they make a mistake, they get a little stuck, right? Which we're all a little guilty of, right? And most average golfers kind of have the other problem where they get in a little too steep, right? So this would be a great drill with the left to right wind for a very good player, just to feel like that club's out in front of them a little bit more. And being indoors, we're so conditioned to aiming at the middle of the screen. This is a good opportunity to aim a little bit left, change up our visuals a little bit, and it's going to be a little challenging. It also really helps us get ready for the wind. Right? So when we get outside, we're gonna have wind out there. So we're lucky here. To me, kind of a visual here is over top that left white T marker there. I would think about not really putting a lot of side spin on it and just letting the wind take it.
Yeah, just gonna hit the shot almost.
We're not trying to hit a whole shot into it. It's more like a shot where we're riding it.
Ride the wind a little. Okay.
While you're hitting this, I'll tell you a quick Mo Norman story. So, Mo Norman always told me I got to play a lot of golf with him growing up, and he always told me to ride the wind. Right?
Don't fight it.
Yeah, don't fight it if we don't have to.
Okay, what's our number now? 102 with our adjustment, we said 7. So Really now we're looking at a shot that's about 96 yards, about that adjusted. Okay. So my goal, what do we say, 96?
96.
So I've overflown my kind of, flat carry. That was 100. So I overflew it by 4 and actually ended up missing the grid. That's the challenge that wind brings into this game. I've missed my landing spot by 4 yards, and I've left with a pretty tricky up and down now.
Difficult conditions require the most precision.
Definitely.
Right?
Okay, let's try that again. So maybe let's dial that back a little bit. I'll calibrate myself down to 93 in terms of my feel. I think we kind of had it moving back at the right amount. It kind of hit its apex and then fell right.
Yeah, agreed.
Happy enough with that?
Definitely. Okay. Yeah, for sure. And your path number, your angle of attack and your path number were spot on for what you're trying to do. And it's funny how those changed dramatically.
Well, important for people to know as well, because I think people could see that and go, I'm swinging out to in now. You're not. You're swinging left because we're aiming left. We're actually swinging exactly the same path. Yeah. I've not made any adjustment. I think the one thing people forget is playing a round ball game, that the ball doesn't care whether we stand here, we still get the same golf swing. But if I stand here, I can manipulate an in-to-out golf swing. Stand here, I've got an out-to-in golf swing, and I'm pretty neutral. So knowing where your baseline is from an alignment standpoint. So,
and that's a good point, because that's why we started off with no wind.
Yeah.
To kind of get our baseline.
Create those base.
And then, this would be excellent for that little fade.
Okay, so we're aiming a little bit left again. So feet are left, ball position. Still think relative to, I'm trying to think of relative to the kind of stance. I'm still in that good spot that you had me at 100%. Earlier on. So still checking the fundamentals. 93 is the kind of number that's in my mind I'm trying to hit. So I want the quad to read something about that.
Kind of a fun game too is before you get the number to kind of guess.
Yeah. So
that had to be pretty close.
It was 93. It was right on the carry number.
And that's a good example too. We talk about strategy.
Yeah.
That's a great shot, right?
Yeah.
You might have a 15-footer coming back, but
if you're dealing with a 15-mile-an-hour wind, I know it's not a long shot, but I mean, you are over the moon with what you've got left there.
Yeah, that was amazing. So to me, we want to start off the block practice. Mm-hmm. We want to transition. This isn't quite random because we're doing multiple of them.
Sure.
But we're certainly talking about controlling our golf ball, right? And we could do this for a little bit, right? Kind of, we're going to talk about this afterwards, but kind of like your 3-strike thing.
Yep.
We definitely don't want to overdo this, right? We don't want boredom to creep in.
Absolutely.
So that would be a good time. Once we start to control this, we could switch over. Why don't we switch over to the 18th tee?
Love it.
At Pebble.
Iconic tee shot.
Iconic tee shot. It's a fun shot to hit.
It is.
We'll switch over to that. We'll hit some shots there. And then we'll just play some golf and do that.
I love it. Love it.
Okay, so we got to
head over there. All right. We've got, this, I'll be honest. I can't wait to the day I hit this tee shot I never have in person. This tee shot would give me fits because left is, you're re-teeing it.
Yeah.
Right, you've got the bunker and you kind of make it a bit of a difficult hole. Actually, you can hit it out of town if you go too far right, which I have in the locker as well. So this calls for the nice right to left, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is just that's a good point. Really, it's whatever we see.
Yeah.
Right? We got to play to our strengths. Yeah. The more pressure we're under, I've been fortunate enough to play here a few times, just for fun, it's a lot of pressure at this shot. Yeah. But we want to think about what we want to see, right? Like for you, you're seeing a left to right shot?
Right to left draw.
Oh, right to left. Okay, good. Thank you. Because that's what okay, so, and maybe a little bit lower?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because I'm transitioning to a new big stick because I was kind of struggling with anything to be able to turn over. So I've actually added some loft and changed some things up to give me, much more easy use. I felt like I could see some things in my golf swing, whether it was kind of a really high exit and I was using an 8-degree driver. I'm like, well, you're kind of going to be trying to add some loft. So if I want my golf swing to kind of look a little bit more that way, I feel like I do a really nice job if I've got a 9-iron or an 8-iron with my golf swing being a bit more rotary. Because I have loft. I'm trying to take loft off. I think that's how your equipment can influence your delivery And right now, I'm trying to allow my equipment to influence the swing I want to make because I know I'm going into off-season. I don't know if I'd play this exact driver if I had a tournament coming up tomorrow. I might go back down a degree. If I play an 8, this is a 10, I'd probably play a 9.
Okay.
Right? But I think right now, I'm happy to see some loft.
Okay, but we're going to hit our shot now.
Yes.
And that's the club in hand.
Okay.
So we're going to go with that. And again, this is a great example too. Here you are, now all of a sudden you're getting nervous. You're coming back, you're taking a look, right?
So let's do this because, I do have lots of different brands out there, but I wear a Whoop strap. There's lots of other ones. But one thing I do in practice is I like to know where my heart rate goes to. I like to see where it's at. So, I'm sure if we were standing on the 18th tee Pebble, it might be a little higher than, we're currently at 90, 89, right? So we're in and around 90. So let's see. I'd actually probably, if I knew that, walking up to this tee shot and it's, we've got par 5, I would want my heart rate a little closer to probably 105, 110.
Right, like a little bit more.
Yeah, just because I think when it comes down to your nervous system, I think trying to elevate your nervous system, because the more elevated our nervous system gets, we ultimately have a choice. Are we in fight or flight?
Right.
Right? I'm not necessarily saying I want to be in fight mode, but I want to be closer to fight mode than passive sleep mode because I'm trying to do something explosive and dynamic, and I want to have an element of a bit of pop. So, if you watch Kyle Berkshire and how he ramps himself up, he wants to hit his drives at 140 plus heart rate because that's where he's closest to his fight mode. So get that sympathetic nervous system really kicking in, or at least be control of it.
I agree. And for most of us, we're probably generally leaning towards calming ourselves down in this situation and trying to ramp ourselves up. There we go, though. Definitely creeping up there.
So I've made 3 aggressive swings.
Yeah.
I'm trying to prepare myself for the
Yep.
tee shot. My heart rate's just spiked to 118, 119.
Okay, so no excuses now then.
Absolutely, we're there. We're in game mode. Okay, let's see.
I just love the engagement with this, where it's something
It's
that
very
we don't.
intentional, isn't it?
Yeah, where we don't see that. We go to hitting bays indoors.
Yeah.
We don't see this level of engagement.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Oh, have we got enough on the line? Ralph? No.
No.
I necked it.
Close one.
To be fair,
but now we're
necked it.
practicing, and there's some consequences.
Yep.
Right? So I love the way we've structured this.
Me too.
Some block practice, some transition, and now some real consequences. And boy, now we're seeing the waves, take that golf ball away.
No, my feet are wet, the whole deal. Guys, one thing I want to make apparent, and you'll hear me say this a lot, anytime we get into talking about the pillar of practice, anytime you have 100% success rate when you practice, you're not practicing correctly, right? You need to leave and do other things because game is not, to coin Bob Rotella, golf is not a game of perfect.
No.
Right? So we have to have, if we're learning a new skill, we have to have a reasonably high rate of failure in order for our learning pattern to be acknowledging, okay, this is new. I need to change some things.
100%.
What did I do wrong there? So that's when the learning process kicks in. And talking to Dr. Raymond Pryor, we should be in and around a 40% failure rate, 60% success rate in order to be in that peak learning phase.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Really, that's an alignment adjustment more than anything else there. Over the moon with that. Over the moon.
And I love that adjustment that you made where you weren't thinking about, boy, I'm going to try to, change something up here. I'm just going to reload with a little bit better target, better strategy, and then go ahead and execute that.
Totally. I'd be over the moon with that.
So now we transition. I don't know if we need to watch you play a few holes, but this is where we'd transition
into playing a few.
Into playing holes. We got this in for the whole hour.
Yep.
We could play some holes until we're done.
Definitely.
But tell you what, before that, we talked about speed. Everyone wants to get a little bit longer.
Absolutely.
Kind of a nice way to end our session would be with some speed work.
Right.
And love that. Might as well do it with the driver that you're with, that you're in.
Yeah.
Right. And we'll just hit 5 shots. Pretty hard.
Yeah.
And really, the only number we're going to look at here, would be our club head speed.
Okay, so
Right,
that's the only metric where
Yeah.
we're sacrificing a little bit. Even if strike wasn't quite as good,
Yeah.
whatever it is, we're just looking at.
We're trying to
speed.
elevate that club head speed for the next time. And
Would you take someone off of a hole? What if you were doing that? Because you know,
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen
probably a good
like
idea.
Martin Borgmeyer or Kyle Berkshire, and they'll just have like the one big tile up there, and it's
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your normal club head speed?
I would say I've not hit too many drivers today. I would say normal club head speed today might be 111, 110, 111.
So you could hit 5 shots.
Yeah.
And if it's higher than 111, it's a win.
Right.
Right. And if it's, and that'd be the only metric we'd look at for those ones.
Okay. End of session, 5 swings, ramping it up. We've ideally, we'd have one number up there, but we're kind of going to have 3: club speed, efficiency, total distance. But the one that we're guiding this task off of is incremental gains on club head speed.
Yeah.
Right.
And so really 111 would be a tie, 112 would be a win.
Yeah.
There we go.
So club speed felt fast. I did neck it. Club head speed felt a bit quicker, I think. Let's see.
It's a good point. Like our contact isn't going to be typically as great with these, but let's check out what that club head speed was.
Okay, we got 112.2.
Okay, so that's a win, right? So if we, as a kid, a lot of times we do that. We'd end our practice sessions with some long drives to our friends.
Definitely.
Right? We all got longer.
Okay, 112.2 to beat.
Yeah, so you think about it, that's 3 miles an hour faster just by putting more effort in.
More intent, more effort,
It's amazing. Like that's 12 yards almost. There we go. Again, I don't want to hear any grievances about where the ball goes.
Couldn't care less,
Couldn't care less. We're just trying to get that number. Anything over 111 is going to be a win.
Well,
yeah, 110.
That felt pretty good, that one too. Okay, so 3 strikes. That's strike 1. We got slower 1 time.
Yeah. That's a good thing. You can go ahead and hit this. So, if we have 3 shots where we're getting slower, then we're done.
We're struck out.
Let's hit one more. Let's get anything over 111.
Yeah.
We had a great practice session, and we're good for the day. And again, get some movement in here. We're doing this at the end of the session, obviously, because it's going to negatively impact our central nervous system for the next shots. So this would be a good way to end it on. There we go. Like we don't want to start off our practice sessions like this.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons. Also, we don't want to get injured.
Feels like, I would say, I'd guess 113. Felt quicker than 114.
Yeah, so 114, that's incredible. That's 5 shots, 5 miles an hour more than your
than the 18th tee shot.
Than your 18th tee shot. Keep doing that. We'll get, this is I really appreciate letting me come and do this and walk you through a practice session. Fun. I love watching you golf and watching your swing.
Thank you.
I feel like if we got a little bit better practice session, we'd all get better.
I totally agree with that, and hopefully it's an idea. I'm certainly not everyone's poster boy about how you need to play the game, but when you get down to around a decent handicap, scratch-ish, then I think a lot of people can learn, because the amount of people that play the game at scratch level, we should probably be looking to that. What the PGA Tour players do is it's really elite and it's high performance. That's the pinnacle. But there's other people we can learn from, and I think I'm very structured. I'm very analytical, obviously, and I probably have to turn that off. This example of a practice session has actually been refreshing for me because it feels less technical than I would normally be. Like we were very, very reactive to that pin at pebble, a wind out the left. I'm just thinking game mode at that point. That's great, turning off the cogs that go on in my mind. I get very kind of position orientated. I didn't think about positions once while we were doing that task. I certainly never thought about positions when I'm trying to ramp up speed. So, skill acquisition, speed is a skill. Obviously, hitting shots to a target is a skill. I would leave feeling like that was a great hour well spent.
Yeah, and the more pressure we're under, the more internal we tend to get, but the more external we need to get. That was an amazing hour.
Buddy, thank you.
Thank
as
you
always,
very much.
An absolute pleasure. Guys, I hope you really enjoyed that. Lots of you are going to be getting into the winter season, the off season, coming indoors, being in an environment like this. Lots of clubs or indoor practice facilities have got bays like this now. Really utilize this learning environment for your benefit. Try to look at your game and sort of be very critical as to what do you need to work on, where do you need to spend your time, and then make sure you're being very mindful about trying to work on your kind of weaknesses and not just stand there reinforcing strengths. A lot of people do that. I love my 7-iron. I'm going to stand there hitting 7-irons. You'd be as well, you'd be as well just packing up and going home, because really you're already good at that skill. You got to acquire other ones in the game. So hope you guys can take something from this and enjoy sessions like this. Lots more to come. If this is the first time watching our brand new channel, please like and subscribe. Join us on the journey. It's going to be a performance-based channel, something that we feel that we can give you guys the tools to ultimately play this game to the best of your ability. The 6 pillars of performance are absolutely key for any golfer to hold up the performance within your game. Make sure you're playing the best golf you can and ultimately enjoying this game more than ever before. Thank you, pals, always.